So I'm currently investigating the most haunted wood in the world, apparently. And apparently, the big fable about this place is that no birds can sing here. And I don't know if you can hear, but birds are definitely singing at the moment. I'm guessing the reason why people can't hear birds is because they visit here after dark. By the time I get to my destination, it is going to be pitch black, which is going to make everything naturally a lot more scary. So I'm trying not to fall down a massive hill. So far, I have not witnessed any ghosts, which is rather disappointing, but I have witnessed a rather beautiful sunset, which, to be honest, I don't think you can see, but the weather is glorious. It's freezing cold. My hands have gone blue. I feel like I want to explain a little bit more about where I am. I'm at a place called Sally in the Wood. I'll explain a little bit about the myth and the story surrounding Sally. At the moment, I'm trying not to fall over. There's a field full of goats. You can't actually see any goats.
Compelling as that was, this was where my first visit came to an abrupt halt. I pulled out my camera, which mysteriously had been drained of all battery life, despite being on charge overnight. The memory card had also mysteriously vanished, which was both peculiar and frustrating in equal measure. I had to return the following day to start my journey again. So erase all of this from your memory and let's start the story again. On the outskirts of beautiful Bath, a winding country road and a patch of woodland surrounds Browns Folly. With historical links to witchcraft, torture and murder, this location has found itself on the map quite literally. Named Sally in the Wood, the memory of Sally lives on. So who was Sally? Who is Sally? A legend, an outcast, someone to be feared or celebrated, or all of the above? Her name lives on, and so does the spirit of Sally. There are multiple theories that live and breathe on the internet. Some say Sally is the ghost of a tortured gypsy girl who died in the Folly. Others speculate that the woods are haunted by the spirits of those who have died in car crashes in this accident black spot. So is it Sally who still haunts these woods, or another unrested entity? Tonight, I venture into the woods as darkness falls to see if I can feel any unrested souls. On my journey through the woods, there are two conflicting narratives running through my mind. The one overruling one: try not to end up face down in the mud. With each step, my wellies were slipping and sliding, and I was one step away from looking like I'd been slam dunked into a chocolate fudge cake. Hold that thought for a second. Now, don't get carried away. I know what you're all secretly hoping to see next, but luckily, it didn't happen.
Hi, it's Brocarde here. I'm in the most haunted wood in the whole world, allegedly. Now, it's getting darker and darker and creepier and creepier. I've still got a big walk to get to my destination, so fingers crossed I get there in one piece. The first myth I'd like to debunk is apparently this place is so haunted that even birds can't sing here. I'm not deep into the woods, but I can hear birdsong, and I'm not sure if the camera can pick this up, but there are definitely birds singing. Although weirdly, the deeper and deeper I get into the woods, the sounds are getting fainter and fainter.
conformity and how people ostracize and are fearful of those who have differing beliefs, because it makes them feel outside of their comfort zone. Of Sally is to be believed, in many ways she was a pioneer and ahead of her time. Using the tools that surrounded her to heal people and live a long life, she definitely had a few secrets. This lady died when she was nearly 100 years old. You'd be foolish to laugh at her alternative healthcare practices. If she had a laptop in her straw hut, she would no doubt have been a pharmaceutical entrepreneur. Her graveyard can be found in the village of Monkton Farley, near the woods that take her name.
The bird song has completely stopped. Is that because they can't sing, or is that because it's just turned into nighttime? I'm getting colder and colder, hence the beanie. The wind is howling out. But we have the most amazing view over the city of Bath from up here. So regardless of whether we see any ghosts this evening, it's a very beautiful spot to watch the sun go down. But I'm not sure if I'm still going to be here by sunrise. This is the infamous Browns Folly. So many paranormal investigations have taken place here over the years, and to be honest, the things that they've picked up are a bit inconclusive, as with all paranormal investigations. So I'm going to sit here for a moment and see if I can feel or sense anything that the building has to say. A focal point is usually this door. People have seen figures standing in this doorway and walk through it. So this is usually referred to as a porthole, where paranormal activity normally makes itself known. At the moment, I can't feel a thing, probably because I'm freezing cold and numb. But not everywhere is going to be as haunted as people say. I feel like this is as far as I'm willing to go. I wouldn't say there's something stopping me, but there does feel like, it feels like there's a good reason why I shouldn't continue, and probably because it's a very high staircase with no railing, and all it would take is one false move and you would fall to your death. If there is paranormal or evil spirits lurking within these walls, I don't want to put myself at any unnecessary risk. Now, the whole time I've been standing here, my eyes keep getting drawn towards the door. It feels like there's something watching me from outside. Outside that door, it's just a wood and darkness, so there could be anyone lurking there, not necessarily supernatural, but it's kind of unnerving and unsettling, and if someone did come through that door, human or otherwise, I'm not quite sure how I'd escape or where I'd go, and that's leaving me a little bit rattled, so I might make my way back down to the bottom of these stairs, because I'm feeling that this place is notoriously scary, but I think that's for all the obvious reasons. It's a wood, people come here in the dead of night, and that's going to be scary regardless of whether there's hauntings or not. If you were to fall and that went right through your stomach, that would be game over. It's terrifying.
As you can see from my footage, my actions once inside Browns Folly became a little bit unsettling, for no good or obvious reason. I kept finding myself drawn towards the door, walking back towards it in a thoughtful state, then back inside, back upstairs, then downstairs, then upstairs. It was almost like I was in a kind of trance, and I wasn't necessarily conscious of what I was doing.
Kind of felt compelled to walk back up the stairs. I feel like now is a good time to pick up where we left off. Come take a seat and let's listen to ghost stories with Brocarde. So now that we're inside this tower, it feels relevant to go back to the story of the gypsy girl in the white dress that so many people have seen here dancing around the folly, and also there's a road that runs up to these woods that's had multiple unexplained accidents. This little girl is said to step out in front of cars and cause accidents. The legend has it that she was a little gypsy girl who was imprisoned and starved to death in this tower. It's scary enough for a fully grown adult like me, but imagine being a child locked in here for days and days and days, slowly getting weaker and weaker, meeting your demise through lack of food and lack of water. Now that's a terrible way to die, and it's not surprising that some people say her spirit still lives here. The other ghost story, and the reasons why these woods got their name, Sally in the Woods, and I touched upon her earlier. Sally was a local lady who practiced herbal remedies, and in that time that was considered a little bit offbeat. Now I think she sounds pretty cool, to be honest, but she was labelled a witch, a white witch by many, because she healed people of warts and their ailments. However, some were fearful of her and said she had a cackling voice and would run away at the sight of her. Her husband was the gamekeeper of the local estate, and she was made homeless when he passed away. Instead of finding another house, she found herself setting up home in the woods. She lived in a straw hut, and she used to smoke an old clay pipe to get rid of the midges. She sounds like quite a character, and someone who I think would have a tale or two to tell. However, I'm not keen to meet her, especially not in the woods in the dead of night. As I stand here, my eyes keep being drawn towards that door, and I don't know if that's natural because we're inside, we're confined, and anything could be out there, but it's leaving me a little bit unsettled, so I feel like I want to go now. What was that? Oh. Oh, I don't like it out there.
All of a sudden, I was compelled to leave. I heard an unexplained cough noise, which really spooked me. The camera and lighting started to trigger. I couldn't leave the tower fast enough. I was panicking all the way back to the car, and I couldn't really run because of the mud, because with each step, my feet were stuck.
So my trip to Sally in the Woods was a little bit more brief than anticipated. Just minutes after I stopped filming, I started to take a few stills on the camera, and I had a little look back at them, and I thought I could see my face merged with an old kind of haggard lady. I've got back to the car and had another look, and I think it is just a lighting effect. I don't think it's anything untoward, but I will publish that picture on the screen so you can analyze it and see if it's just a lighting filter or if it is actually the ghost of an old lady. It kind of got very unsettling. I was fine, and then that happened, and then my imagination just tripped out, and I needed to get out of the woods really, really fast. So I didn't film any footage coming down. I was literally trying to run, but it was really, really muddy, so my feet were getting stuck, and luckily I didn't end up with my face in the mud, but it was pretty brief. I don't know what I make of the whole Sally in the Wood myth. I feel like there was a lot of accidents on this road because it's a really, really windy road. It's just one of those horrible country lanes, and it's an accident black spot. Whether or not that is because someone runs out into the road or not, I mean, I don't know, and I hope I never get to find out, to be honest with you. But I hope you enjoyed watching, and there'll be plenty more of this kind of thing to come. So like, follow, subscribe, do all the usual bits, and show me some love. Bye.